Hi again folks, how's all doing? Right then, here we go, back doing repairs again, and just for fun I thought I'd start with something a bit tricky. This is a Sutton's Locomotive Workshop Class 24 that was sent to me by a chap called David. He emailed me and told me that this model had suffered a bit of a drop which has resulted in damage to one of the bogies and the front buffer beam. Now, I've looked at one of these models before which had also suffered a bit of a gravitational impact, so I think this will be a similar experience, but we shall see. I can't test run this as the front bogie is badly broken, so it would be a bit of a disaster, and I can't back it into the shed. So we'll have to get the wizard to do his thing, and we'll get a proper look at this. Okay then, a Sutton's Locomotive Workshop Class 24. I've looked at one of these before that had a very similar problem. It had been dropped and had a broken bogie. It was a very nice model from what I remember. I'll need to go and have a look at that video again. I remember it had sound under DC, which was quite nice. But I also remember it being a bit of a fiddle. I was really struggling to be able to see what I'm doing, so I'm going to need my head torch, I think, again for this. And the light in this room, I don't know, I'm going to have to replace the main bulb, I think. It seems to be getting worse. David told me that he contacted Rails Exclusive to ask if they would repair this for him, and they said that they could, but they were so busy, preparing their next release or something that they didn't really have time to do it. And they actually advised that he contact me. So my reputation must be growing. So I said, yeah, I'll have a look at it. As I say, I've worked on one before. And I think this will be a kind of similar thing. So, David's actually sent me a whole load of bits and pieces. We've got some replacement buffer beams, two of which, well, yeah, that one's okay. So I think the broken buffer beam we can replace with one of those ones. This bogie is, as you can see, broken in two halves, and yeah, the drive shaft and everything is loose in there. And I'll just get the endoscope. So there you go, you can see the bogie frame is broken. We've got the drive shaft loose in there along with the gearbox cover, but other than that it seems okay. The one I worked on previously, it was this little stub that the bogie pivots on that was broken off, so I just glued it back on, but that's a bit more of a serious break. But other than that, it all looks okay. We'll need to give it a wee bit of a clean up, get it all back together, and hopefully it'll be alright. I say I haven't tested this. I think at the moment it is DCC. Just looking at the other bogie, there's something not right there, so we'll need to maybe pull that apart and put it back together. There's also brakes missing. I do have replacements here, so we'll maybe need to sort that as well. We'll see what we can do. Let's see if we can get that drive shaft out just now, actually. There it is. Looks okay. There's the gearbox cover. That looks okay as well. I seem to remember having a bit of trouble getting this out before. I seem to remember sticking my finger in and lifting it out. Maybe try that again. Yeah, there we go. There we are. There is a little bit of damage to the body. Where is it? Yeah, there's a little bit of damage there. Just a little nick. There's probably not much I can do about that. We could maybe try a wee bit milliput and paint it. There's a bit of glue damage there. So yeah, it's seen a bit of action, this model, I think. I think I do have a blanking plate for this, but we'll see what it does under DC. The pickups are plastic riveted on to the bogie frame, unfortunately. So it's quite a clean brake, and each half is screwed onto the bogie chassis. You can see the wee screws there. So I think I'm going to try gluing it together. I could get a replacement, but I think the fact it screws in place as well, it might just be okay. We'll give it a go. Even if it's just a case of just gluing it together just to get the thing running. And I could maybe order up a replacement bogie frame, but you know, if it glues together okay and then screws in okay, I think we're all right. Yeah, I think that'll probably glue all right. I use this stuff. This is Paisley Super Plastic Glue. It's very, very good stuff. It's basically a super glue, but it does seem to work very well on plastic. So I'll get some in there, and we shall put some on that brake. I'm going to end up gluing it to the chassis as well though, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. This glue doesn't seem to set quite as quickly as just ordinary super glue, but it doesn't take too long. Right, so that's now been glued. I'm going to leave it a little while to set before I start fiddling about with it. Okay, so I'm going to go and get some lunch and then take the dugs out, and then I'll come back to this later this afternoon. Let's see if we can get a new bulb. Right, so this is actually a couple of days later. I was working on this on Sunday, and the light in this room, it was just too dull. I wanted to replace this bulb, but being Sunday, the hardware shop was shut. That was the only place I could get hold of a 100-watt daylight bulb. So I went down on the Monday and got that, but I was busy with doing other things. But I picked this front bogie up and it fell apart again. The glue joint just completely failed. It's funny, sometimes plastic super glues together really well, and other times it just doesn't at all. But another reason it failed was that there's two little screws there. I'll just get the endoscope. You can see there's two little screws, and this one here had stripped. Therefore, it wasn't, you know, this half of the bogie wasn't very secure. And when the super glue failed, it just fell apart. So I've epoxied it, and I've replaced this screw with a different type of screw that's fixed this in nice and securely now. So I'm quite happy with that. I think that's going to be fine. So we'll get this back together. We'll need to service the bogies. We'll need to sort the buffer beams. This is a replacement one that I've fitted the buffers to. And I think we'll fit it before I fit this bogie in. I think I'll fit this buffer beam. Let's get these bits and pieces out the road, because this buffer beam fits in with a couple of screws. So we'll undo those two, and that should now just come off, and we can put the other one on. So it's good having buffer beams that are completely separate from the rest of the body or the chassis. Unlike some older models, where if you break the buffer beam, you've got no choice but to try and glue it back together or get a replacement body shell. Right, okay, that's that buffer beam sorted. So we'll get this bogie back in position, and the drive shaft, I've already cleaned it, but we'll get some more grease on it, and we'll get some gear oil down into the gearbox, just to keep all that sweet. Should maybe give the wheels a clean as well, actually, before doing anything else. I have sent an email to Real Exclusive asking about availability of parts but I haven't heard back from them yet. But I think this bogie frame will be fine. Now I've replaced that screw. Right, okay, we'll get some grease onto the worm and into that drive shaft. Okay, try and get this all back together. Might be easier said than done. I think I'm going to have to remove the speaker. I just can't see what I'm doing. Undo that. And I think there's another screw on the side. Yep. It should now lift out the way. That. Now I can see what I'm doing. Just go between the pickup wires. Get that into there. And then get the bearings in position. That. There we go. There we go, drive shaft and worm gear in situ. We'll get a little bit of gear oil into there. And then we'll get the gearbox cover on. Like so, and that is that bogie now secure. I'll get this speaker screwed back in position just to stop it flapping about. Right, now before I reassemble all these brake rods and things, I want to do this bogie as well. So I think we'll do the same thing. We're going to unplug the pickup wires, lift that out the way, we'll unscrew the speaker. So we'll unclip the gearbox cover. Just give it a good scoosh. Going over with a manky brush just to get rid of all the gunk. Some fresh oil into the bearings. I don't need to take this bogie out completely. Just wanted to get the worm gear cleaned up and the bearings cleaned up, fresh lubrication. And then we can get that back down there like so. Plug everything back in. Right, that's all plugged in. Screw this PCB back down. I've just realised I've forgotten about this coupling, which is drooping down. I really should have taken this bogie out. Let's have a look to see what's going on with this coupling. There's an awful lot of play there. Tell you what, we'll take this buffer beam off, because it needs a bit of work anyway. It's got a buffer missing, and there's a bit of glue spill there I want to clean up. Let's take that out. I've got 2 screws to remove this plate. Right. So that comes out. What was going on with this? Why does this coupling droop? Well, you can see these blades, for want of a better word, are very bent. And that's why it's drooping. Kind of bend them back. They're just plastic. Try and get this little spring hooked back on. Right, let's screw this back on, see if that's done the trick. Okay. Yeah, that looks better. So this buffer beam, I want to clean up this buffer. There's a bit of glue spill, and where is it? To fit this buffer in. So we'll sort that. So I'll get my headlamp. Otherwise, I simply will not be able to see what I'm doing. And actually, so that's going to go on that side. This will go back. Right, that's all the brake rods in the correct position in there. Now there's this piece here which goes, I think, at the back. Okay, I'm going to switch the camera off and just have a fiddle with this, get it all put back together properly. I'll take a bit of fiddling. Right, I've been blethering away there and I didn't have my my camera on. I've got this all back together, sorted out the bogies. These bogies are pretty fragile and I really don't like the way they go together. I mean, these SLW models are really good, I think, but the bogies are just a bit too fragile and a bit too fiddly for my liking. But I've got them together, I've got that coupling sorted, I've got both buffer beams looking okay. So yeah, we're done. Hopefully we'll stick it on the test rack and make sure it works. Okay then, power on, front lights come on, increase the power, engine starts up, increase the power a bit more, and off it goes. Seems fine. Right, so we'll get this body back on. There's a tiny bit of damage, a little bit missing just off the fairing at the corner there. I don't think it's worth trying to repair. It'd be very difficult to repair that. Milliput can be useful, but for very small repairs like that, it's not very good. It's kind of fragile and crumbly, so I think it would just break. So I think I'm just going to leave it. I'll just have to have a little scar to remember its accident by. So let's see if we can get this on successfully. I think that's it. Okay, I think we're done. Give it one last wee test. Seems fine. Right, so there we go. That's this crash damaged SLW Class 24 fixed up. Yeah, nice model. I do like these, but yeah, very fiddly. Right, we'll pull it out the shed. Okay then, let's bring her out. Right then, there we are. That's the Sutton's Locomotive Workshop Class 24 back in action after its wee tumble. Nice models these. I'd love to see them do a 37. The bogie frames are a bit on the delicate side, but that's not unusual for models these days. Personally, I'd rather see less detail and more strength built into the bogies with fewer bits and bobs, but that's modern models for you. These are otherwise very nice locomotives, and it's nice to have sound under DC operation, although I doubt the sound is doing what it would be doing under DCC. It seemed to be idling a lot. But, you know, I think as I said about the previous one of these I looked at, I'd get a bit tired of that sound after a while and disable it. If I was ever to buy one of these, I think I'd just get the basic one with no sound. Thanks to Jenny from Rail Exclusive for her help, although I didn't actually need any spares in the end. But replacing that bogie frame would be a good idea, so it might happen yet, but otherwise I'm sure it'll be fine. Replacing the bogie frame would require resoldering the wires to the pickups, which isn't ideal as the pickups are mounted onto the plastic bogie frame by plastic rivets, which is part of the reason I was quite happy to just repair the broken frame as best I could. I'd much rather see the pickups held on with little screws, not plastic rivets. Anyway, very nice models these from Sutton's Locomotive Workshop. Nice to get a look at another one, and I'm just glad I was able to get this one back up and running as well. Okay folks, I shall get this sent back to David, and I'll catch you later.
Bye-bye. See you all soon.